Even in hardship, love creates unbreakable strength. Stay with us till the end. The alarm rang before the sun had even touched the horizon, and Ryan dragged himself out of bed, his body heavy from yesterday's labor. His small apartment was quiet except for the soft breathing of his daughter, Lily, who was still curled up under her blanket. Ryan paused for a moment at her door, watching her tiny chest rise and fall, a bittersweet smile spreading across his tired face. At just 8 years old, Lily was his entire world, the reason he fought every day, the reason he endured sleepless nights and aching bones. Ever since her mother had walked away, Ryan had taken on both roles: father and mother, protector and provider. But the truth was, the burden weighed heavily on him. At the factory, Ryan worked double shifts, his hands calloused from hours of lifting, welding, and grinding. His co-workers often joked about his tired eyes, but no one knew the battles he carried home. While others spent their wages on comforts, Ryan carefully tucked away every dollar, ensuring Lily had decent meals, school supplies, and the warm clothes she needed. Many nights, he skipped dinner, pretending he wasn't hungry, just so there would be enough food for her plate. His own dreams, travel, education, even a proper home, were locked away, sacrificed at the altar of fatherhood. When the factory whistle blew, Ryan would rush home, exhaustion clinging to him like a shadow. Yet, the moment Lily greeted him at the door with her bright smile and innocent laughter, all his pain seemed to vanish. They would sit together doing her homework, Ryan struggling to explain fractions with his limited knowledge, but determined to make her believe she wasn't missing anything. To the world, Ryan was just another struggling single father. But to Lily, he was a superhero in disguise, her safe place, her comfort, her everything. Ryan knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. But as long as Lily's smile shone, he was ready to bear the burden of both roles, even if it meant breaking himself in silence. Behind Ryan's quiet smile lay a storm of burdens he never let Lily see. Each morning, after rushing her off to school, he carried the weight of unpaid bills folded neatly in his pocket, a constant reminder of the debt piling higher than he could manage. The landlord's warnings echoed in his mind, and the factory's meager paychecks barely stretched enough to cover rent, food, and Lily's schooling. Yet, when she asked if everything was okay, Ryan always answered with a gentle nod, never allowing his little girl to sense the despair gnawing at him. His pride as a father was to shield her from the world's harshness, even if it meant carrying it all alone. He often sat late into the night at the worn kitchen table, a single dim light bulb flickering above him, balancing bills with trembling hands. His stomach growled from skipped meals, but he silenced it with a glass of water, convincing himself he could endure hunger a little longer. He knew his body was wearing down, his back ached from the factory machines, his eyes burned with fatigue, and his hands cracked from endless shifts. Still, the thought of Lily growing up without opportunities fueled his determination. At school meetings, Ryan stood proudly beside other parents, his clothes modest but clean. While others drove away in polished cars, he walked Lily home, holding her hand, making up stories that turned their long walks into adventures. He hid his struggles behind those stories, weaving magic into an otherwise ordinary life. To Lily, her father was never poor, he was a storyteller, a protector, the strongest man she knew. But deep inside, Ryan wondered how long he could continue this silent war. He prayed silently every night, asking for strength to carry on just one more day. Because for him, every sacrifice was worth it, as long as Lily believed her childhood was filled with love, not lack. The days grew heavier, and Ryan's body began to betray him. Weeks of sleepless nights and endless double shifts finally caught up with him one chilly evening. He stumbled into the apartment, his vision blurred, his chest tight, and his steps unsteady. Lily rushed to him, her innocent eyes widening as she saw her father, the man she believed could never be defeated, collapse into the old chair by the door. For the first time, Ryan couldn't hide his weakness. His hands trembled as he tried to wave off her worry, forcing a smile that barely reached his lips. "Dad, you're sick," Lily whispered, her voice trembling. She placed her tiny hand against his forehead, realizing the heat of his fever. Without hesitation, she ran to fetch a wet towel, pressing it against his head with all the care she could muster. Ryan, who had spent years protecting her from the world, now found himself being protected by the little girl he had sacrificed everything for. Tears pricked Ryan's tired eyes, not from the fever, but from the realization that his daughter saw through his mask of strength. "I'm sorry, Lily," he murmured weakly. "I wanted to give you everything without showing you my pain." But Lily shook her head, her face firm with the determination that mirrored his own. "You already gave me everything, Dad. You gave me love. That's more than enough." In that moment, Ryan's heart broke and healed all at once. The burden of silence he had carried for years felt lighter, knowing Lily didn't need him to be perfect, she just needed him to be present. As she sat by his side, humming softly and holding his hand, Ryan realized that his sacrifices had not been in vain. His daughter had grown strong, not because she had everything, but because she had love. And for Ryan, that truth was more powerful than any hardship he had endured. Years passed, and the struggles Ryan once thought would break him instead became the foundation of Lily's strength. She grew into a determined young woman, her spirit shaped by the quiet sacrifices her father had made. Every time she faced a challenge, she remembered the nights her father went hungry so she could eat, the mornings he walked miles in worn-out shoes just to ensure she got to school on time, and the way he smiled even when his heart carried more weight than anyone could imagine. Ryan's health had weakened over the years, but his heart swelled with pride as he watched Lily chase dreams he never had the chance to pursue. She studied hard, worked part-time jobs, and never once forgot the lessons her father had taught her, not through words, but through actions. For her, Ryan wasn't just a father. He was the living definition of resilience, sacrifice, and unconditional love. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky with golden hues, Lily sat beside her father on their small porch. She reached for his hand, her eyes glistening. "Dad," she said softly, "you may think we struggled, but to me, you gave me the richest life possible. You gave me love, laughter, and strength. You gave me everything." Ryan's throat tightened, tears welling as he looked at the young woman who had once been the little girl he carried on his shoulders. For the first time, he realized his silent sacrifices were not invisible. They had bloomed into Lily's character, into her determination, into the kind of person who would never forget where she came from or who made her who she was. The world may never know Ryan's name. There would be no awards, no recognition, no headlines for the years of pain and perseverance. But sitting there, holding Lily's hand, he understood something far greater. His life was a victory, not because of wealth or fame, but because he had raised a daughter who saw love as the greatest gift of all. And in that silent victory, Ryan's heart finally found peace. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more motivational videos.